Hey guys, how you doing? It's Coach Mitch here with our friend Isaiah, who told me some months ago he promised he would come back to be interviewed with me, and sure enough, this guy is a man of his words. Here he is. Listen to this video, guys. It's really going to help you out. The whole process, start to finish. If you really want some help in this process, someone who's in there right now, this is a man you want to hear. Okay, not me, him. Okay, so here we go. Isaiah, first of all, welcome here. I do appreciate you being here, man.
Hey man, thanks for having me.
Definitely. We are happy to have you, believe me. So, first thing I'm going to ask you, Isaiah, so before you start this whole process, can you tell us lightly where you worked at and what you did before, and why did you want to go to CBP? We're curious.
Yeah, so before I applied for CBP, I worked at a safety monitor as telecare, so pretty much updating OSHA rules, regulations. And before that, I actually just graduated from Cal State San Bernardino with my bachelor's. So, the reason I wanted to join CBP is just, I wanted to do something meaningful in my life, going in interviews, talking to people. They was always saying like, oh, this job's super easy. The only hardest thing you have to do is pick out what you want for lunch. And when I wanted to look back in my life, I wanted to do something that I can sit there and say, I did that in my life. So that was the main thing. And, doing my research and just researching and seeing what can I do. I just felt like CBP was my calling. It's different from other law enforcement agencies, and that's what I like because I feel like I'm unique. So why not go to an agency where I feel like unique also?
That's a great answer. But let me ask you, you're going with something you knew very well in your civilian life. You knew it very well, obviously. Were you ever concerned about making that transition into law enforcement at the federal level? Was there any concern for you at all, or no?
No, 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 I don't think so. I always said if I ever wanted to, jump to law enforcement, I was always gonna do federal. It's just a better fit for me. But
Really?
yeah, yeah. But no, it wasn't none no concern or nothing. It's just, something that I felt like I could do and I just went head on with it.
Support systems, family, friends. Do you have that? Was this something you're doing on your own? Or how's that work for you?
Well, so my mom works for Riverside County Sheriff's Department. My dad's part military. She's always been a bandwagon on why to join her department, but it was just one of those things where I wanted to just pick my own, and it's not something I wanted to be forced. I just wanted to pick something where I feel like was a fit for me, and that's why I chose CBP.
I understand like that does make sense. So you got to cut. You already have law enforcement in your family, but you want to go federal law enforcement, whole different route,
Yes,
correct?
sir.
I understand. So you got to tell us, man. I mean, tell us the top three toughest parts of the journey you're on. You first of all, tell everybody from the beginning where you started and where you are now. They need to know where you are now.
Okay, well, where I'm at now, I already picked my duty location. I already have a start date for the academy. And to answer your question, I would say the three hardest parts was probably it wasn't hard, but I would have to say, your physical entrance, that step test, you gotta have to start working out. You're gonna have to start getting condition,
Okay.
that's the big thing. Um, and the second hard thing, I'll have to say that interview. I can't go into do too much details, but that interview is totally different. And the only person that can help you is the man Mitch right here.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, man.
And I would have to say the third thing, I would just have to say being patient during this process.
Oh,
I think that's the hardest part. I mean, everything else, would just come and go, but patience is definitely one of those things where you're gonna have to master because it would drive you crazy.
that's a good lesson for me. As I got to tell you, I get emails all the time, right?
Hmm.
First of all, thank you for the interview process. Appreciate that for sure. But I get questions all the time about Coach Mitch wins this and wins this. But I never think about telling people that. Just it's a patient process. That's a good lesson for me too to learn today from you. Is that yeah, you gotta be patient. It's a long process. It's correct.
Yes, absolutely.
So how long was your process? I know people are curious about that.
Oh yeah, so I started around my birthday. That was in the end of May. I did my poly. No, I'm sorry, not my poly. I did my physical, my interview, and my drug test all in 1 week. So that was in June. I can't remember what exact date, but that was in June. Then ever since from June, it was just a waiting game. I did my questionnaire, and yeah, it was just a waiting game. I would have to say about December, that's why I took my poly. No, I'm
Mm,
sorry, no, not December. I'm sorry, November. That's when I took my poly, and then that's when
okay.
yeah, and that's when I got the okay from the higher ups that I passed everything except for December.
You got the okay to go on. How'd you feel when you got that notice? You're time to move on to academy. What did that feel like, man?
I felt excited. It felt excited. I mean, I am nervous. This is a definitely a big change, man. So I am nervous. I will be lying if I said I wasn't, but it's exciting. Just knowing that I'm going into something that's bigger than me. And something that is coming with legacy that so many other people did it before me. So, and I'm sure they all had that same feeling and experience. So, but it
Yeah,
feels good.
that's right. It's bigger than you. That's a constant refrain I hear all the time. It's so much bigger than you. I like when people, when we first started the coaching program, right? I'm
Hmm.
always asking you I ask you man to man. I say, why do you want CBP? And that's the reason
Right.
for that. And here you are. You're saying what I talk about all the time is you got to have that reason for doing this, right? It's not just a job. It's bigger than you. I mean, keep your country safe was a huge task. Right?
Yeah,
And,
definitely.
and you so I like that. Let's go back to the beginning. As I want to ask you a question to help people out. So I'm sitting there working a
Hmm.
job for 8 years. Say I work, say I stock to
Hmm.
auto parts, but I want to be CBP. If I don't know what CBP is, can you tell folks a couple things about it, and also too about having the courage to move your career to something else. What that takes, Isaiah.
Yeah, so if you don't know anything about CBP, I would say start doing your research, start looking at the videos, the history of it. One of the main things that I liked about CBP is, one, the opportunity for growth.
Mm,
Two, they express that there's no other type of law enforcement agency and they do things completely different.
wow.
If you really s- watch the history, CBP is really the first line of defense. So your job is very vital, and like I said, just it being different from other law enforcement agencies, that's what attracted me the most. Um and also, what was your other question again?
Uh, Okay, first of all, thank you for that. That's huge, right? Okay, but Isaiah, I'm working my 8 years at a job I'm comfortable with. I work 9 to 5. I know all my stuff and everybody who works there. But I've always wanted to get into CBP. At what point, when do I start to really go that way? Like, when does the change happen? You know what I mean, Isaiah? I'm trying to figure out
Oh,
when it's time to stop being comfortable and go to be uncomfortable. How you did?
you just have to put yourself out there. My grandfather always told me, to grow, you have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations, and that's even going to another job, and that's what it is. So it's just one of those things where if you just have to put yourself through it, because if you keep saying, oh well, I'll do it the next year, you're always gonna be hesitant. Something where you gotta just go head on with it. But like I said, just understand that, you know it's so many people before you that did it. This, you're not going into something where it's just a regular job. You're going to something that's a legacy, structured, so understand that, what you're going to do is bigger than anything you probably will ever do in your life. So it's just something,
Understand.
yeah, it's just something you have to just go forward with it. You can't really be hesitant. You need to know that this is what you want to do.
So kind of stop stalling and get on with it, yeah?
Yeah, stop wasting time. Life is too short.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
So you guys, when I first met Isaiah, we first talked, and I knew he's a smart guy. You can see he's a smart guy here. But Isaiah, I got to ask you though, why'd you come to me for interview help? You smart guy. Why me?
So I knew that the interview that I was gonna have with CBP was gonna be different. I knew it was gonna be different, and I always been very good with interviews and stuff like that. But I know that it was certain things that they was gonna ask me that I know I probably wasn't familiar with, and I was researching, couldn't really find nothing because you have to sign the NDA, stuff like that. But
Correct.
it's your technique, it's your technique during the interview. I would say that interviewing with you, it definitely prepared me to be confident and comfortable with my answers and my responses during the interview.
Okay, I like that. Thank you very much because you guys know, Isaiah. People. I don't have access to their questions at all, but it's the way we prepare, rehearse, and get ready for the flight. As always, in the flight, right?
Yeah.
And I'm glad you feel that way too. So it's funny because I don't get the chance to ask my clients this question. So thank you for answering that. We appreciate that.
Hmm.
Last about the interview. The last thing at the interview process, when you got done, did you feel? Because a lot of people who pass, they always tell me I don't feel like I passed, but they always pass though. Do you feel you passed when you got done the interview that day? Did you feel that I did it, or how'd you feel?
Now I was unsure. I was definitely unsure. I did it. I was definitely like, I don't know. Let me start looking at some other things, because, but yeah, they're good at what they do. They're definitely good at what they do.
He said, "Look at other things." That's funny to me. Did you? Did you? Let's go down that path for like 1 minute. Okay. Did you look at other things? Because you're a smart guy. You can do anything you want to. I think in the Fed. So were you looking at other stuff too, or no? Was
Um,
was, was there a backup plan on
I always have backup plans, but it was just kind of like, let me just wait and see what happens. Let me just wait and see what happens first. So, it was always, I always like to be optimistic in whatever I do, whatever decision I make, because you just never know what can happen.
that? Understand. Isaiah, can you give some advice on the SF-86, the document? The background. Do you have any advice for people at all? I mean, did you feel it the first time? Was it did it go through the first time, or do you have any updates to make on it? Or can you give people advice on that at all? The SF-86.
Yeah, yeah. So definitely pay attention to what they asking. You know, definitely pay attention to what they asking you. They sent mine back a few times actually, because
Mm.
I thought I had to put my whole family, but it was just only certain family members. So yeah, I would say that, and just be honest, really be honest, because one thing about it is they will find out.
Nice. Okay, that's good. That's funny. I push that through a lot. Is that as they don't want perfection, right? They're
Yeah,
looking for honesty, correct? And
exactly.
you're right. And so, I mean, you say you put down too many members of your family. I get that, but here's the deal, though: is that like on the SF-86, I tell people it's like your life on paper, kind of, or life on the electron, whatever.
Hmm.
It's written down, kind of, right? And
Yeah,
so you really can't be ashamed because they know you've done things too, or whatever, in your life, whatever. But they want honesty. Is that right, Isaiah?
absolutely.
And then when you got kicked back, can you tell us what was the time delay there for you when they got kicked back for you?
Oh yeah. So when I got kicked back, they just said they probably gave me like maybe 3 to 4 days to complete it. So they gave you enough time. They're very reasonable.
Mhm.
And I don't like to really procrastinate, so I just knock it out in the same day, send it back. So it really didn't take me too long. But I know everybody got different circumstances and stuff. But I would say try to get that done as soon as possible, because the faster you turn it in, the faster the process will keep going for you.
Understand. Now the PFT. Tell us about that for you. I know you're in shape. You've always been in shape, obviously. So, but even for you, was it a little bit of a challenge for you at all?
The push-ups and sit-up wasn't, but that 14 step test, my
Mhm.
legs got a little weak. My legs got weak after.
Really? Are you
My
serious?
yeah,
Even for you,
yeah,
huh?
yeah, my legs got weak a little after it. I had to sit down for a minute.
Oh
That was
wow.
probably the most challenging part. I told the guy, I was like, man, I'd rather run a mile than do this.
You guys listen to him. He's in shape, and he said that. So make sure you're aware of what's going on out there. For sure. Thank you for that, Isaiah. That's a good advice to everybody. Because that's a big one I hear from people. They tell me it's not the push-ups and sit-ups; it's the step test that gets them.
Yeah.
That's a big deal for sure, right?
Yeah, I would tell anybody, if you're gonna start, if you're in the process of taking that test, start
Un-
practicing it, and just don't do it. No, do it for exactly 5 minutes straight and don't stop.
Understand? I got it, Isaiah. We know you can't say nothing about the poly at all. Well, I want to know: were you nervous going in that day for the poly?
Um, yes and no. Yes and no. Yes and no. I took a poly before with a different agency, so I kind of knew what to expect.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, but it was definitely different from what I took it before.
Okay.
So I can't disclose anything, but what I will say is, do not listen to all those critics online. Do not listen to all those critics online. You have to go in and experience it yourself. You know. and just be honest. Like I said, they're not looking for no one who's perfect. They're not. They don't want that. Now, if you come in saying, oh, I never did nothing, they're gonna fail you. They're gonna look at you crazy because it's no way. But just go in and just be yourself.
Right.
And that's what I like about CBP. That's what they want. They're not asking you to be a certain type of way. They want you to be yourself.
Like that. You can imagine my business here, right? I get
Hmm.
that question all the time. Hey, Coach Mitch, what's it about? Do you teach it? What do you mean teach? I can't
You
teach
can
something
teach
that's
it,
natural,
yeah.
right? And if I try to teach it, I'd be completely fraudulent,
Right.
But there are people out there who say they teach the Paul. You can't teach that, right? But so this advice from you, not from me, from you, is great because he's telling you guys the truth. Just go in there and be yourselves, right? Right?
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
anybody?
absolutely. Just go in there and be yourself and don't listen to them critics. Don't look online on how to pass a poly, this and that. Just go in there and experience it yourself. That's it.
You sound just like Ethan. I did it with him too, like 5 months ago now. He went through the poly also. He said the same thing you're saying, Isaiah. You guys listen to this man here. He's trying to tell you what's going on. Just walk in there and be yourself. Don't try to prep for this. Correct, Isaiah?
Exactly. There's no prepper. You
Got it.
can't prep
Okay.
for it. You can't, yeah, you can't prep for it. You just have to go through it.
Love it. So you can't tell us any BI questions either, but how long did that last, the interview? Just so we know how long was it for you?
Oh, for the interview?
For the background investigator time,
Oh,
whatever. How long? No details, that's all.
maybe close to a month for me. I know everyone has different experiences.
Oh, it took a month to get that?
Yeah, it took a month because literally my
Yeah.
once I took my poly, it went like
Yes.
that. It literally went out like that. But then again, my record, I barely have one ticket, so I only got one ticket in my lifetime, so I knew it wasn't gonna take long at all.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, so that's like the good answer there. So tell us about the time when you passed everything and you're given the time frame to go to academy, correct,
Hmm.
Isaiah? What did that feel like, and what did you do? What did you prepare for that? Like, what do you got to do to prepare for this academy? What do you got to do? What's going on?
So what I'm doing a lot of running. I'm working on
Oh,
yeah, I'm doing a lot of running. I'm
a
working
lot of
on
run.
a lot of leg work, going to the gym. Um, just really trying to stay in the best shape I can. I'm not trying to, go in there like mega Hulk or anything like that. I'm just trying to, from talking to other people that's been in the academy, not necessarily this, but just other academies, I know running's a big
Yes.
thing.
Okay, so you make sure you stay up shape, running and things of that nature, correct?
Absolutely.
And then, do you know where your EOD is at? Where you going?
Yeah, Indio, California.
Okay, hang on, I ask you now because this is all the time, right? Did you want that? Did you pick it? How'd that work? Tell us the process there.
Yeah, so they send you an email of what duty station you want. You can go through. There's a list of them,
Yeah.
and India was my top three. So it was somewhere that I wanted to go.
You got that really?
Yeah.
Why India? Why is that top three for you? I know we're curious. Why?
Well, one, it's not too far from home. That's another thing. And then the house is closer to there, not fully, but they're cheaper also. So I was looking at that aspect too.
Smart.
I didn't. I mean, San Diego was an option, but San Diego's expensive and plus that traffic. So I got to consider that.
Yeah, I lived it for 5 years. You're right. I know it's expensive. Now, guys, this question here, I didn't ask Isaiah yet at all. I want to ask him this live in front of you guys. Isaiah, you smart guy, I know this already. So I'm questioning this. Once you get into your job for the first couple of years, where else are you gonna go? Because I know you're gonna go more into CBP than I think you go further within the system. So I'm curious, are you wrong? Are you gonna further into the system itself, or what are you gonna do?
Oh, so I gave myself after my first year, my probation year. Once I
Yeah.
understand the ropes, I want to go back for my masters. I definitely want to go back for my master because I definitely want to, move up. And like I said, we'll see because it's so many things you can do in CBP, and there's so many things that it can lead to. Homeland security investigations, um, supervisor roles within CBP. So I don't know, but I just know the main thing is just get into the academy, pass, finish my first year, then I'll start knocking down the rest of my goals. But I like to take one step at a time, and now the step is to just get through the academy.
You guys, I did ask him that beforehand. I wanted to do a live in front of you guys. I knew he had plans. Like he said, you're going to go get his master's and looking at other opportunities. That's the guy who's like 5 steps ahead of. Yeah, he's being realistic about the next step. Academy, he told you that academy's next, but also looking down the road for sure. And Isaiah, I really respect it about you, man. It's really cool. You're looking down that road like that, you know. So, are you going to go in as a 7 then, or 9? A 7, right?
Oh yeah, I'm going in as a 7. Yeah.
Yeah, because you got the BA ready, right? Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, I'm going
Awesome.
in as a 7.
Okay, awesome. So, it's like, give us. We wrap this thing up here. Can you give us like 3 or 4 tips of advice for people who are in the process, think about going through the process? Just give us some advice, some overall advice for everybody here, please, because you're the one who's in the process, right? So, tell us some advice here, please.
So I would say and this is even the advice that I'm taking right now. Um, don't listen to other people's experience. Have your own. You
Mm,
know, have
wow.
your own. Because I'm nervous about the academy. My biggest thing is the Spanish. You
Oh,
know, so
okay.
but I can't listen to others people experience, or I can't research it. I just have to go in for myself and experience it. So that's one thing, and you guys should take that along with that experience. Don't listen to the online critics. Don't go to Reddit. You have to experience it yourself, because, like I said, my experience is different from going to be your experience. My timeline is going to be different from your timeline. Um, Another thing is just be patient. Be patient. This is the time while you're waiting to get yourself in the best shape possible. Um, get yourself in the shape to the point where they do work you out, you're not as sore. You know,
Uh,
it's doable. It's doable. You can still move around. You're not stiff.
right.
So, and a third thing is just, go to Mitch for that interview.
Ah,
Get
you
that, get go to Mitch to prepare you for that interview. And this is the thing, he's not just preparing you for the CBP. It's things that you can take from that interview, and what he teaches you in certain techniques that you can take it somewhere else.
thank
Maybe
you, man.
CBP don't work for you and you want to go to another agency. The stuff he teaches you in that interview, it can take you can use those techniques and take that somewhere else. So definitely go to
Okay.
Mitch, man. He's the man.
Thank you. Thank you big time, man. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. I take it very serious, just
Yeah,
very honestly. When I tell you my success is your success, I really mean that, and people always ask me why I'm so focused like I am, because I'm working on my legacy now,
yeah,
I'm in my late 50s. Maybe I got 20, maybe 20 years left. Who knows, right?
right.
But I want to leave something good behind, right?
Yeah,
I say all the time, I can't fix your cars there. I can't fix your computer, but I can show you how to get through the interview process. That's what I do, So
exactly.
that's my legacy, right? And so that's what I do. So thank you for understanding that and saying that. I do appreciate that, man, for sure.
Oh yeah, no problem. Hey, it all starts with the interview. It all starts with the interview. That's what people don't understand. I mean, that interview, I would have to say, is the most critical part of this hiring process.
Mhm.
It all starts with that interview.
Yes, that's right. I'm with you 100%. I always say to people, it's like you have like 90% plus of the control of the interview, because if you're ready for it, then you're going to have most of the control of it, right? You
Yeah,
can handle it, answer questions right, and go on to the next step. So that's a really good point. We definitely appreciate that too. I when I first met Isaiah, guys, he had this determination. He's not overt though. He's not like, ugh, but he's very determined. You can see it, you can feel it. So I already knew you're going to get past. I knew this already. I'm just amazed. Honestly, the truth is how you came back. You stood in your word, like you said. You're going to say, Mitch, I'll come back to you before I go. Look, here he is. I mean, this is what CBP is looking for: integrity-filled people like Isaiah. He came back to see me. He didn't have to. He had no obligation whatsoever to come back and see me. But the man stood by his word, and so that's a lesson to you guys too for integrity. He's a living, breathing example of that, Isaiah. So I want to tell you, man, I'm really happy for you. I'm so excited for you, man. But I'm also impressed that you came by and stood by your word and came back to this channel. That's really impressive, man.
hey, a man has two things: his word and his reputation. So I try to live by that.
Yeah, well, you did a shining example of it for sure. Isaiah, any parting words for us here from you, sir?
Yeah, listen, guys, this process, it could be long. Just be patient. I know it's hard,
Mm,
but it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. And like I said, I keep going back to, don't listen to the online critics. Don't listen to the online critics. This is the experience where you just have to experience it yourself. Me going into the academy, I could be trying to research what they be doing in the academy and stuff like that, but I just learned that I'm just gonna see what for what it is when I get there.
good attitude. Good attitude. My gosh, that probably keeps anxiety down because you're just okay. I'll walk into it. I'll walk into it. Right. But wait though. Wait. But you're preparing though. You're not sitting there hanging on the couch watching games. You're physically doing stuff. So when you walk into it, you're ready for it. Right,
Oh
Isaiah?
yeah, most definitely. Like I said, running, going to the gym. I'm like I said, I was in a car accident and I ended up catching COVID, and I had to get myself back into shape, and that's what I'm doing now, and just working through them aches and pains, because if you don't do it now, it's gonna be harder in the academy. You know.
You guys got to hear this one more time. This man said COVID and an accident. Isaiah, how close were those things happening?
Oh, it was back to back.
You guys, you're looking at perseverance right here. COVID and a car accident, still here, going to his academy. I mean, come on, we don't have excuses, right? It COVID's hard to breathe. I've had that myself 3 years ago. I mean, it was hard to breathe, and plus an accident on top of that. You kidding me, Isaiah?
Oh
That's pretty.
yeah, literally. I told my doctor that I was like, "Hey, I got accepted to the academy, such and such," and he was like, "Well, you can't work out."
Oh,
I said, "Well, you know, I can't just sit up here and just lay in the bed." So I started walking. I started walking the track.
love it.
I started just building that endurance. Started walking the track. Don't I'm not gonna sit there and say that it wasn't hard, because but started doing that, and then started doing light jogging, and just now building my endurance back to where it was. So, mind over matter.
Love Love the tenacity, man. Love the tenacity. That's the kind of mindset we want. Isaiah, I gotta tell you, I'm very honored by being in the process with you. This little piece I have in your life, I'm very honored by that, because you're gonna go off and do big stuff. Number two, though, I want to tell you thank you for sharing this expertise with everybody else, your life lived experience, because I can't teach that. That's got to come from you, who gave us some of your time today to tell people what it's like, because this is valuable.
Hmm.
It's very valuable, and it just makes sense. What you said. It's like if I'm new to CBP, I can grasp onto it. Say, okay, it makes sense to me. I can understand this what he's saying. But I just want to tell you on behalf of all of us, Isaiah, thank you for coming in today. We do appreciate it.
No, well, thank you for having me, and I'm happy to share my experience with you and all your followers, and guys, just keep going. Just keep going. Don't give up, and it'll pay off at the end. So thank you, Mitch, for taking me back, man. I really appreciate it.
Mhm. Thank you, Isaiah. You take care of yourself.
You too, man. Take care.